we play a game?
Why, yes, I believe we shall.
Oh, I got a live one here.
Live from Little Rock, it's Shane Plays Geek Talk, a journey into the things we love, which is both an FM over-the-air broadcast, radio, talk radio, geek show, and a podcast, because I love both mediums. So thanks for joining us, whether you're listening live on 96.5 FM The Answer in the Central Arkansas, Little Rock metro area at 1 o'clock on Saturday, August 26th. Or if you're listening on the online stream at 96.5fmtheanswer.com, or if you're listening delayed by podcast or on YouTube or on Krypton Radio or on SoundCloud, any of those venues, I'm just glad you're here. Really have a lot of fun with the show. And thanks for coming along for the ride. I'm your host, Shane Stacks. I'm going to do a couple of housekeeping notes here, and then I will introduce my in-studio guest today and also give a quick nod to who I thought was going to be my guest today, but I guess wires got crossed or something. I'll still give a shout out for their Kickstarter. I was going to have them on and talk about it. But anyway, all right, this is, if you're listening live at 1 p.m. Central on August 26th, this is Live Talk Radio. You feel free to call in at 501-823-0965. That's 501-823-0965. Or you can tweet me at Shane Plays. That's ShanePlays. ShanePlays. And don't forget that we do have a website and a blog that supports all the general Shane Plays geek efforts at shaneplays.com. Last week's show did go out as a podcast a few days after the live show, and we had Kevin Eastman. Yes, that Kevin Eastman of Toonage. There's a mashup. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as the help me, Bugs Bunny. What Toon?
Tiny Toons, yeah.
The Toons. What did they call them?
See, I thought you were going for tuna.
No.
So,
fish. Fish ninjas? No.
Yes.
Dang it, what am I
Those
thinking
are delicious,
of?
by the way.
Not
Looney Tunes?
Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was Michael Brown.
Thank you.
Yes, that was comedian Michael Brown, and the other voice you heard is William Brackeen, known to his friends as Bill, right here in the studio, and they are, of course, friends of the show. But yeah, that's what I was thinking of, Looney Tunes. So take the Looney Tunes characters and mash them up with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It would work. I don't know.
Toonage.
Toonage. Anyway, I'm way off on a tangent. Last week's show was Kevin Eastman, the co-creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, talking about his really super cool Kickstarter project, Drawing Blood, which is a fictional true story of the crazy things that happen to comic book professionals. As I mentioned, the show does go out as a podcast. Goes on the blog, shaneplays.com, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, and more, including YouTube. Some people do keep up with it there, and I have a lot of other type of videos and whatnot on YouTube as well if you want to check that out. YouTube.com/GoShanePlays. And last but never, ever, ever least, Shane Plays is also carried on Krypton Radio. Krypton Radio is SciFi for your Wi-Fi. KryptonRadio.com, and Gene Turnbow does a great job over there with the internet's 24/7 geek radio station, online radio station. So you heard the voices already. I'll do it. William, welcome back. William Brackeen.
Good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. And of course we have Michael Brown, comedian extraordinaire, also in the studio. So what happened this week? And I'm going to give a shout out just to go support the Kickstarter while it's still going. I had originally talked with Scott Kurtz of PvP Online fame, the webcomic PvP Online. He's also kind of good friends with the Penny Arcade folks over there. And for a long time, he was part of the live D&D stream they would do from PAX, the various PAX shows with Chris Perkins, Acquisitions Incorporated. So I talked with him about coming on. He said, sure, give me the 26th. And then just after that, the communications just got crossed or something, and I never could get a confirmation. So William and Michael, y'all slid down the bat poles.
Oh yeah,
and here you are.
Yeah, I'm gonna go slide down again.
Yeah, you slide down again, and I said, "Hey guys, y'all mind coming on?" Because I'm not sure, what this week's show is going to look like. And they were like, "Yeah, definitely." So appreciate you. Always enjoy having you guys on. But I do want to tell people, go out and check. Scott Kurtz has a Kickstarter right now called For Benwin's Minions, which his main thing is PvP Online, but he does a side thing called Benwin's Minions, which is a different webcomic that's a lot of fun, and he's doing a Kickstarter to kind of collect that and publish it out in book format. So go look for the Kickstarter, Benwin's Minions, and support Scott Kurtz, because I got a lot of respect for him. He's built up a pretty good life doing the webcomic and chasing his dreams.
And it's funny.
Yeah, it is funny. I mean, I've seen PvP Online off and on for years.
Yeah.
Our mutual friend Calvin used to share a lot of PvP Online comics with me, like on Facebook or whatever. So anyway, go support Scott. Scott, if by some chance you hear this, I'd love to have you on in the future. I was trying to have you on at this time, just because of the time frame of your Kickstarter, but you're always welcome on the show.
When does this Kickstarter end?
I'm going to check that right now. I was about to do that. I know it's a couple of weeks.
Well, he's probably pretty good.
I try to get people in the middle of their Kickstarter because most Kickstarters have a dip in the middle. They blast out high, and then they have a dip, and then they blast out at the end again. And I try to get people on in the middle, one, to kind of help that slump, and then two, because a lot of people listen to this. More people listen by podcast possibly than live.
Right.
So, and that takes a week or two I can watch the stats, and that takes a week or two to trickle. So I want to, I don't want people to listen to the podcast the last day of, the Kickstarter's already over. So let's see here if I can find it.
And I think that we should take credit for the Carl Kiesel Kickstarter succeeding.
I have never seen a Kickstarter squeak it like that. Because a couple hours before, it was still a few thousand down.
Really?
And it still made it.
Yeah, and then the podcast hit the air.
Yeah. And then, that's right. Yeah, we had Carl Kiesel several weeks back with his Section Zero. Mm-hmm. There is no Section Zero.
No, there's
Bill. There is no Section Zero. There is 13 days left to go on the Benwin's Minions Volume 1 Kickstarter. It's at $18,000 out of $30,000 goal. So they've still got plenty of time to make it. And a lot of times these Kickstarters, the last day or two, they'll start rolling again. So,
and we wish Colonel Kurtz
a lot
of luck.
We do
as he goes up the river.
The horror. Nice classic fiction reference there.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So I've got a kind of a cool shout out here to do. Now I've had tweets as far away as Argentina during the live show. I got a message on the Shane Plays Facebook page this past week from, anybody want to guess the country?
Ooh,
just take a wild
Zimbabwe.
Step. Nope.
No.
Croatia.
Nope. Norway.
Oh, I was closer.
I got a Facebook message from Norway. Zach, what's up? I forgot to give you a shout out. Hardest working engineer in the Geek Talk radio business.
Good afternoon.
How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
You've been asking for Michael Brown. There he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What's up,
So when
Zach?
you got Michael Brown on again?
What's up, Zach?
They do funny.
We got nothing but love for you, buddy.
Nothing but love for Zach. So they were having a good Defenders talk before the show. Defenders has dropped on Netflix. I haven't seen it. I don't have Netflix right now, believe it or not. So yeah.
Gonna take your geek card.
Yeah. No. See, there's plenty of other geek stuff out there. So, but no, we went through this like massive. Okay, we're cutting the budget like about 2 years ago, and Netflix was one of the things that got the axe. And never brought it. Don't really got so much other stuff I can't even keep up with. I mean, I know there's some great content on there.
There is,
especially the Marvel shows and Stranger Things and all that.
Yeah,
but I haven't had Netflix in almost 2 years now, and really, believe it or not
missing it
because there's so much I can't get to what I want to watch right now anyway.
Well, yeah,
So
you get that job getting in.
The job and wife. Kids. No, I'm joking.
You've got your help. What do you
joking.
want with a job?
Yeah, I know a job. Zach, do me a favor. It's my wife's birthday today. You guys talk, William and Michael talk. I gotta see if I can call my wife if she'll answer. It's her birthday, so we're gonna put her on the spot.
Right.
Okay.
All right, you guys talk about the Defenders real quick, and I'm gonna.
So we were talking before the show.
Yeah.
About the Defenders and the Iron Fist situation.
Yes.
And how, of all the shows that they've done, that Iron Fist is the one who's getting the negative reaction.
Yes.
And I have a theory about that.
I'd love to hear it.
Okay. When you look at the shows that they've done, and the movies as well.
Yeah.
I mean, they change certain things about various characters, but they keep the spirit of the character and the baseline personality pretty much the same.
More or less, yeah. I wouldn't argue with that.
Until they got to Iron Fist.
Okay.
And I don't. This had to be a deliberate choice, but when you look at the Iron Fist show, in the comics, Iron Fist kind of had the standard kung fu warrior stoic personality.
Yes.
And then they threw on a dollop of, fish out of water when he comes back to New York, and there's a little bit of naiveness, and they get some humor out of that. And they kept that part in the show, but in the show they made him a hothead.
Oh.
And kind of whiny.
Kind of antithetical
Yes.
to
Yeah, I haven't heard a lot of positive
kind of,
on Iron Fist.
they basically, this is not the character that the people who were already fans were tuning in to see.
right.
And it's not a particularly endearing personality for people who weren't already fans of the character.
No doubt.
And I've seen 5 episodes of Defenders, and they don't seem to have toned that down a whole lot. I've seen a little bit of character growth for him through the first 5, but he's still really angry and
See, the Iron
flies
Fist
off
in
the handle.
The Iron Fist in the comics was always centered.
Yes.
Because he learned that.
That's the kind of the whole
Yeah.
deal
Hold on,
with
yeah.
him is the fact that he's
Yeah.
All right, hold on,
centered or
guys.
whatever.
I gotta put my poor long-suffering wife on the spot here.
Beleaguered.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, beleaguered. Hey, baby, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, Sheila. I just wanted to wish you happy birthday.
Thank you.
For the-
Love
Happy
you.
birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear long-suffering Sheila. Happy birthday to you. So I just wanted
Thank you, guys.
I wanted to declare to the world that you're beautiful and I love you, and thanks for all you do, and thanks for putting up with me.
Okay, love you.
All right, love you. Happy birthday, baby.
Thank you.
All
Bye.
right, bye. So
Oh, that was nice.
let me tell you how she has to. We went Thursday night. We went to the Riff Tracks. Did the Doctor Who,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
5
yeah.
Doctors. That she could care less, but she went with me.
Yeah.
And just sat there, just kind of like tried to put up with it for me.
Yeah.
So of course I'm over there dying laughing.
Sure.
And she's like, "This is not my cup of tea at all."
Yeah.
But if you get a chance to see that on video,
Yeah.
like it's really good.
I cannot wait for them
they
to release that.
skewered
With
the heck out of it. Yeah.
I've been riffing that since
Yeah.
it came out in the 80s.
Yeah.
Sincerely.
Yeah, you talking about the 5 Doctors one,
Yeah.
or just Doctors Who in
No,
general?
5 Doctors.
Yeah, the 5 Doctors just because they try to shove in all these companions. It's just plot holes. It's really funny. They rip the heck out of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I haven't seen the Defenders yet. I'm eventually going to catch up because I want to see Daredevil with season 2 with the Punisher.
Yeah, you should.
Yes.
Daredevil season 1 was amazing. Now Sheila actually liked that. Even the head in the car door scene. I'm surprised she hung through that.
Wow.
Yeah, and but I haven't seen Luke Cage. I did see Jessica Jones, which was excellent.
Yes.
I did think it was about 25% too long. I felt like it should have wrapped a little early, but
I don't
thought it
disagree
was
with that.
great.
I don't disagree
But
with
I
that.
haven't seen Defenders. I haven't seen Iron Fist. I haven't seen Luke Cage.
Full disclosure, I have not seen Iron Fist either.
Yeah.
And that was a conscious choice from seriously, I just decided not to watch it because of the reviews.
We're getting bad.
Yeah. And
You didn't want to not like it.
Well, in
I
the
didn't want to
comics,
not like it.
Right.
That's right.
And I got to get back to the shout out I was going to do, but in the comics, and thanks for filling in right there while we
Hey,
were
no problem.
putting my poor, as William said, beleaguered wife on the spot. I don't think she realized when we got married she was marrying a hardcore geek, because at that time I was hardcore into politics.
Uh-huh.
Right. And then when I got out of politics, I was like, I've got to cleanse my brain of all this I just went through. So I rediscovered my geek side. But anyway, the Marvel stuff on Netflix is great, what I've seen, but I haven't seen Iron Fist. But in the comics, Danny Rand is a very focused, sure of himself, peaceful character, because he was the
Centered.
Yes,
well,
very-
he was the counterbalance to
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, who was angry and So I don't know.
Yeah.
It surprises me based on what
Now,
I'm hearing.
I will say that my favorite scenes in Defenders so far have been the ones with Danny and Luke.
Totally
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
I'm telling you, and if this isn't the case, they're making a huge mistake. But because, well, first of all, I understand they've got a completely different showrunner for Iron Fist for season 2. So, so everything that was set up in season 1 or the tone or whatever,
Right.
They may overhaul that a
Right.
bit, and because of all the negative reviews of it and whatnot. So there's something to be optimistic about.
Well, at least they're hanging in there and not just getting rid of the character.
Yeah,
You know, they're giving it.
and I'll say this much: I enjoyed the Iron Fist show. I mean, I think you'll enjoy it as well.
Right on.
You may not like the treatment of the character himself,
Okay.
but it has all the other elements. It's got the whole Rand Meacham conspiracy in it. It's got Colleen Wing. She's a little different than the comics.
Yeah.
It's
Does he have the guy who's upset with him because he thought he was supposed to get the tattoo?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know enough about it.
It's got the
haven't
whole
watched it.
Kunlun background. It's got all the trappings. It's just that the character himself is
The
a little
character
off.
himself. Well,
Yeah.
they probably, and I'm completely speculating here without knowing and without having seen it, they're like, well, if he's all calm and centered, we can't have any character growth there, you know?
Yeah,
So I don't know.
And it seemed like, that's what I was saying, it seems like it was a conscious choice so they could have kind of the character growth arc.
All right.
But I think that they went a little too far the other direction.
Totally agree.
And there was also a lot of and this is a slight spoiler, but it's almost like he doesn't know a whole lot about the Iron Fist power.
Right.
And all these other characters keep coming in and so, well, you know, you can do this too, right? And he's like, what?
I thought he was basically just like really quick and could knock the heck out of you.
Well,
I thought that was basically
the Iron Fist can be used in a variety of ways. Of course, it's, you know, it can be used as like the big hammer.
right.
It also can be used to heal people, and
okay.
he can also like this.
You're more well versed in the Iron Fist lore than I am.
Yeah, and
That's why it was breaking my heart that I haven't watched it yet, because you're talking to a guy who literally owns an Iron Fist coffee mug.
yeah,
At home, I have a coffee mug with Iron Fist.
I know
on it.
of Iron Fist. I've read some of it. I know enough about the backstory, but you know,
Yeah.
I'm not. But anyway, let me get to the shout out. Then I'm going to take us to a break, and we got 2 topics today.
Ooh.
One topic after the break is Marvel's messing up again. Say it echoey again. And then after the second break, we'll talk about this thing called the X card in RPG gaming that is just blowing my mind. I'm like, do we really need this? So those are the 2 topics we're going to talk about today. But I want to give a shout out to, and I hope I don't mispronounce this, Axel M. Bjerke. I don't know. Look at that.
Gesundheit.
Right there.
I got it.
Am I pronouncing that right?
Okay.
Axel M. Bjerke?
Bjerke. Yeah.
Bjerke. Okay.
Axel M. Bjerke.
Okay, so I want to throw him some love. He sent this. Listen up to this, Zach, because you're part of this too, because you help engineer this show. This is Axel from Norway. Hey man, love your show. It has really filled an empty hole in my nerdy podcast needs. I'm amazed by how many awesome guests you have on, especially from the D&D and PC RPG world. Super quality stuff. Just wish you had longer shows and a more podcast type setup. Me too, buddy. Might not be possible as you're a radio host, but I wish you had more time per episode. I mean, it's a problem, but it's a good problem to have that people want to hear more, right? He says, anyway, keep up the good work. Regards from Norway, Axel. So, Axel, thanks very much. Here's the deal, folks. I love talk radio and I love podcast. But, guys, look around. This isn't a bedroom with one mic set up in it. I mean, there's a whole studio here. And Zach is in there basically running the Starship Enterprise.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. There's more overhead to this than a podcast. And every hour costs. So if I add another hour or another 30 minutes to the show or whatever, that's more cost. And as it is right now, I have sponsors and I have some Patreon supporters, but it's not 100% covering the bills. So until that happens, I can't expand it out even further. Now, I do occasionally have podcast extras where I'll record a podcast and put that out, but there's also this funny thing called time, and that all takes time. So here's the thing. I do have a Patreon, and I've said this before, I'll say it again. I will never make this through. You have to do Patreon for the show to go on the air. But if you like this show, and I'm not calling anybody out, Axel, you are welcome to listen indefinitely and not support the Patreon. But I'm just saying, if there's people out there that would like more of Shane Plays, then the best way to do that is to support me on Patreon or recommend sponsors to me. That's the best way to get more Shane Plays. So,
well, I think everyone who is listening right now, if they all gave $1 a month to this show, this show could turn into a 2-hour show.
2 hours. We could go to 2 hours.
Yeah. That's all you guys have to do is give $1 a month to Shane Plays.
And I appreciate that. But at the same time, I want to walk that fine line of like, I would love for you to support me, but I don't want people to feel like I'm arm twister.
No,
you know what I mean?
Everybody knows where you're coming from, and everybody loves this show. Everybody that's listening to this. But so, you know what? You in your car right now, listening to this, or on your headphones on the stationary bike,
pull out your dusty wallet, you cheapskate.
Yeah,
give them money.
Shell out $1, man, and get
just
like
and if everybody listening gave $100,
you can't even get
quit
Starbucks coffee for $1. No, okay. Seriously, another thing. We're about to go to break. Another thing I want to mention, since we're talking about web shows, The Tick has dropped on Amazon.
Oh yes, indeed.
Michael's seen it. Michael loves it.
I love it.
I saw the
pilot.
I was going to say primer for some reason. I saw the pilot several months ago. Really enjoyed it. So if you have Amazon, go check out The Tick. It's got Michael Brown's seal of. Oh, dang it, Michael! Tell us about your show tonight.
Oh, well, I thought we would do plugs later, but
go ahead.
Okay, I'll do it now. For the podcast listener, this means nothing to you, but to the live listener, especially if you're in the Central Arkansas area, tonight, 8 p.m. at the Lobby Bar in beautiful crime-free downtown Little Rock, Arkansas, I will be part of a comedy showcase. I will be headlining this comedy showcase with 5 of my comedy pals at the Lobby Bar tonight at 8 p.m. Admissions only $5. Cheap. So, come on out, man. You don't want to watch that Merriweather fight. You want to come and laugh.
You can record the Merriweather fight.
Yeah,
come on now.
This is live.
And this will probably last longer.
Yeah. The show will certainly last longer.
So, and Michael, people need to come hear him. He's funny. You've opened for the likes of Dave Chappelle.
Yes.
Right? And others. So, folks, go check that. Where's that at again? What time, Michael?
At the Lobby Bar in beautiful, crime-free, downtown North Little Rock at 8 p.m.
Okay.
Doors open at 7.
Yep.
And so come in, get you a few drinks, and get all lubricated up for some comedy.
Okay. And we'll try to save some time at the end of the show to make sure people know about your web series that's gotten nominated for a show. But we got to get to a break. We got to get to a break like right now. So take us to a break, Zach.
The smell of mildew emanates from wet stone walls. The only choices before you are to enter the door to the north or travel back up the stairs from whence you came.
Okay. I go to the door to the north.
In this room you encounter an event promoter.
Arkansas RPG Con is the Arkansas convention for all tabletop role-playing games. Arkansas RPG Con will be held on Saturday, October 21st at the Gene Moss Building, located at 913 East Sevier Street in Benton, Arkansas. Early bird tickets are just $7, so visit arpgcon.com for all the details about Arkansas RPG Con. Okay. Well, I guess I go to Arkansas RPG Con.
Yeah, that does sound pretty fun.
Comic book lovers, visit thewildstars.com today. From the mind of author and comic book industry expert Michael Tierney, it's not just a comic book, it's a comic book novel. The Wild Stars is sci-fi and so much more. Learn the explanations behind UFOs and space gods. This isn't the Twilight Zone. This is the region of the Milky Way galaxy known as the Wild Stars. We guarantee you've never read anything like it. The complete comic book novel took 20 years to tell, with one reviewer noting, the story of the Wild Stars stretches ambitiously across space and time, from small-town murders to the destruction of planets, with every event given multiple layers of meaning. If you haven't read The Wild Stars, you're missing out. Visit thewildstars.com today.
The die is cast.
Plunge into worlds of fantastic adventure where dragons lie. and the undead stalk the shades of your mind's imagines. Where creatures of legend plunder wealth through the horror of their passage. Monsters grim and foul hold the ecstasy of gold and the renown of glory. All this and more awaits you and your friends in the unlimited, fantastic world of the Castles and Crusades role-playing game from Trollord Games. Visit your friendly local game store or Trollord.com to get your copy today. A rules-light, adaptable game that has stood the test of time. 12 years in constant publication with no new additions. Castles and Crusades is the original, easy-to-play attribute check system. Join us and unleash your imagination. Visit your friendly local game store or Trollord.com to get your copy of Castles and Crusades today. Shane Plays Radio is blessed to have sponsors, and we appreciate them very much. However, did you know that you can also support the show as an individual for as little as $1 an episode? Simply go to patreon.com/Shane Plays.
Hey, welcome back to Shane Plays Geek Talk, a journey into the things we love. Number here, if you happen to want to call in, is 501-823-0965. Or you can tweet me at Shane Plays, joined by friends of the show, William Bill Brackeen, and comedian extraordinaire Michael Brown. Always love having these guys on. So, guys, here's the topic for this break. And then we're going to have another topic after the next break, hopefully. Even though, as usual, the timing of the show has already gone completely off the rails like a flaming train wreck. But if it's not a flaming train wreck, it's not Shane Plays. Okay, so here we go. Marvel, right? Okay. Marvel's caught a lot of heck the past couple of years for multiple things. I'm not even going to go into them in this segment because it'll cut into our time. But several storytelling and decisions and other controversies have plagued Marvel on the last year or two.
Yeah.
Okay. Their sales are down to where for the first time, now we all know Michael Tierney.
Yes.
He runs the comic book store and he also runs Collector's Edition. He's the sponsor of this show. And Michael's...
And a good friend.
Michael's a good friend. I used to buy from him in 7th grade over on MacArthur.
Totally.
Back in the 80s. But he contributes to the comic book, the buyer's guide. Mm-hmm. I mean, he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
And he said this is the first time that he's been a comic store owner, and he's been a comic store owner since the 80s, that DC is consistently kind of putting the screws to Marvel. So that's how the things have shifted.
Yeah. It is a very big shift.
Well, yeah.
And it's amazing to me because what they've done is Marvel's kind of doing some out there things.
Right.
And DC has taken, in the last couple of years, my understanding is they've gone to a back to basics approach.
They've gone to a back to basics
with most of their characters.
Let's get back to the heart of the characters. Let's get back to the relationships, and let's have fun in comics again. That's what DC did with Rebirth, which is a reboot without being a reboot.
Yeah.
Okay. They kind of changed the tone of pretty much their entire line without officially destroying the universe and starting again. So Marvel's doing the same thing now, and they're calling it Marvel Legacy. Okay, they're relaunching like everything, getting back to the core of what people want about their characters, because they've really been ticking a lot of people off and offending people and you name it for a couple of years now.
Let me ask you this before you go any further on this Marvel-ish reboot-ish thing. Is it a separate universe?
No.
Okay.
No.
Continue.
They're doing what the new thing is, the reboot du jour, if you will, is to reboot without having a reboot.
Okay.
Because to reboot, I think these days is admitting that you've got big, massive problems and you have to start over.
This is what they used to just call a change of direction.
Right. Exactly. But now it has to have a big marketing name and it has to have a big... And so DC did it about a year ago with Rebirth.
Yeah.
And DC sales are going up. And I'm reading books in DC Rebirth, like Aquaman.
Yeah.
I can't get enough of Aquaman right now.
Good for you.
Yeah. Being written by Dan Abnett, and he's doing a darn good job. I haven't missed an issue of Wonder Woman. So this is how things are changing.
All right.
Right?
Danny Abnett is a good guy.
His Aquaman stuff is fantastic. And I'm also reading his Titans. Now, Marvel's doing this thing called Legacy, where they're not going to come out and admit it, but they're like, it worked for DC, we're going to do the same thing. But here's what they're doing. They have a revolt among the retailers. There's like 70-something retailers. Some of them are very small, but some of them represent a lot of stores are saying we're not ordering the special stuff for Legacy. So here's what's happened.
Okay.
And if people listen by podcast, then this will be on the show notes page. But I have 4 separate articles here. 2 of them from Bleeding Cool, 1 of them from ComicsBeat.com, and 1 of them from the Hollywood Reporter. So this has gotten a little bit more visibility than just the third tier blog out there, right? Like,
all right.
like whoever writing their blog on their phone, that 3 people read, right? So kind of like my show, but that's called self-deprecating humor in the business, right? Right, Michael?
Oprah calls it empowerment and disempowerment.
Is that what it is? All right. So who calls it that?
Oprah.
Oh yeah, there you go. I just disempowered myself.
Yeah.
So thanks, Oprah. Oprah. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Yeah,
Oklahoma.
I love me some Oprah. What? I don't even know.
What do you?
I don't know.
Out of the ditch. Come on.
I'm in such trouble now. Do I? Oh man, I don't know.
Keep between the mayo and the mustard, buddy.
Oprah, I love you. I love you and your Oxygen Network. Okay. Anyway, so Marvel. I don't even know where that came from, folks. I humbly apologize if I triggered you. I apologize. But what they've done is Marvel's like, if you want the lenticular special covers, these are the retailers.
Mm-hmm.
You have to order between 150 to 200% of what you would normally order of the regular run before we will even let you buy the lenticular covers for this.
Yeah.
So
I'm good.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got this massive. I'd say there's like at least 70 retailers right now have said no thanks, we don't want them, because they're doing the math, and there's no way that we can make this to where we actually don't lose money.
Who's in
I'm
charge?
checking my watch. Is it 1992?
Thank you very much.
Well,
That's exactly what I was going to say. What do they think this is, 1993 or something?
Here's what happened. Okay, here's what happened. DC has done a few lenticular covers here and there. They recently did this thing called The Button, which was this Flash Batman crossover 4-issue thing between their comics, because they're bringing the Watchmen into the mainstream DC universe. I don't know if people know that or not. And the button, the smiley face button with the blood on it, is like literally they found it in Batman's Batcave. And they're like, what's going on with this?
I saw that scene.
Yeah, which I have mixed feelings about, because I think that I don't want the Watchmen in the regular DC universe, because it was such an amazing, just leave it alone. But they're doing it, so they're doing it. Okay. And I don't have a problem with them doing it. Like, Jeff Johns may do an amazing job with it, but you're opening the door to horrible stories with the Watchmen 10
letting
years
Ron
down the road.
Mars ride it.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
Sick burn.
Yeah.
But it appears that Dr. Manhattan, remember at the end of the Watchmen, he's like, I'm going to go create some life.
Yeah.
Well, it appears that he went off and fiddled with the DC universe and stole about 10 years of everybody's life. That's what the clues that they're leading up. But anyway, we're talking about Legacy.
Yeah.
Okay. So
The Marvel thing.
Yeah, the Marvel thing. So they've been upsetting the fans. Now Marvel is upsetting the retailers.
Okay.
It's like they can't win for losing. Mm-hmm. And so here's why they're doing it. Okay. The reason they're doing it is because when Marvel reports its numbers, it doesn't report how many, like if Shane goes in and buys Legacy #1, they don't give 2 whatevers.
Yeah.
They care
they've
about,
already sold that book.
They've already sold it to the retailers.
Yeah.
So they want to be able to say, look at this massive sales we had, because they're forcing and they're putting the retailer in the middle, because Johnny comic book fan or Jenny comic book fan, they want the lenticular cover.
Well, sure, it's special and awesome.
Right. Yeah. So, and even the comic book retailers are saying these things are fantastic. We wish we could, but when they go, so when Jenny or Johnny goes into the comic book store and says, "Hey, I want the lenticular cover," and the comic book owner says, "We didn't order the lenticular cover," who's the bad guy?
The retailer.
The retailer.
And you would think that they would have learned not to do this from back when they did that X-Men #1 with the 6 different covers. There was at the retailer that I shopped with back in the 90s in Jonesboro when that happened. for years after that, they had piles and piles of those that they had to order so many of to get the special gatefold.
Right. Yeah.
Cover with all 6 covers on it. They were using them to wipe up spills.
Yeah. I'm not surprised.
They are worthless now.
Well, they also,
and it's not something anybody really wanted.
Right.
And they all overordered them, and they couldn't sell them all.
Right.
And Marvel took the brunt of that for years from the retailers after that. And here we are again.
Yeah, here we are again, because they want to report these massive sales numbers. See, that's the problem when you become like a publicly held company owned by, who is it, Warner
Disney.
Brothers?
Disney owns Marvel.
See, the whole, it's, anyway, I don't want to go into all that because we have limited time, but the point is they're putting the retailers in the middle on this. And a lot of retailers are just like, we're not doing it. We're not going to, and here's, here's an example from the Hollywood Reporter episode, blog post, article, or whatever. It says, and these are just to give you an idea of the numbers, of the scale, that say you run a store and you regularly order 10 copies of Iron Man because you regularly sell 10. Marvel asks that you order double your regular batch in order to gain access to Lenticular. So if your 10 regular customers all want the Lenticular cover, you have to order 30 copies. You have to order your normal 10, another 10 to hit your 200% of what you normally order, and then you have to order the additional 10 Lenticular. Yeah. So you've got to order 30 comics, knowing that 20 of them
aren't going to sell.
Nobody wants or probably doesn't want. Mm-hmm. So how is that cool?
No. That's like having to pay extra to buy something you don't want to qualify for free shipping on Amazon. Mm-hmm. I mean,
but on a much larger scale, and putting your because Marvel and DC and Diamond and all this, like, comic books are a direct outlet now. I mean, like, you pretty much hardly ever see, like, you go to Barnes and Noble or something like that, but you don't walk into a convenience store or Kroger or whatever anymore and you see your comic books there, right? Yeah. So your retail comic book sale orders, or your comic book stores, they're your lifeblood. Why would you want to do that to them? But I talked to Michael about this a little bit, and he was like, "Yeah, when I saw those sales numbers, I just ignored it. We're not doing that." I mean, he wasn't even upset. He was just like, "Yeah, we're just not doing that." And he shrugged and moved on. He's done with it. So he's like, "Oh, really? There's this big backlash," but he also said that Marvel has been doing this with comic book stores for years, where they'll push. You can buy this. And then when store owners are like, look, we bought this and nobody wanted it, and now we have this extra inventory. Then on the flip side, on the business end, they'll be like, well, you're just greedy and you ordered too much product. That's your, so. Yeah. Yeah. It just,
caveat emptor.
Yeah.
But
I do see a silver lining in all this.
Let's hear it.
Would you like me to give you my hot take on a silver lining of this?
Yeah.
For the retailers that do over order specifically for the lenticular cover stuff, and if there are retailers, and no doubt more retailers will jump on the bandwagon of not falling for
it
this.
Seems to be snowballing a little bit.
And the more that happens, the better for the collector.
Right.
yes,
Because
that lenticular cover will be exceedingly rare.
Right.
Indeed.
Which that stuff should, you know what I mean? It should be. It shouldn't be a glut.
Yes.
Right.
That was the lesson we learned in the 90s.
Well, remember in the 90s, they had what do they call it? The punch, like kind of the 3D feel, the punched covers and the foil covers. And
chromium covers, the
chromium.
Die cut covers.
Die cut.
Yeah.
The Eclipso with the purple jewel.
All that stuff. So anyway, I know that me kvetching and us kvetching isn't going to change Marvel, but I wanted to do this as a topic to help
the retailers kvetching.
Exactly.
Well, and not for nothing, at Comic-Con this year, DC had an announcement about their plan to save the industry.
Right.
Because they're basically announced the industry is failing and will be dead in X number of years. And I don't really know what the nuts and bolts of the plan were, But, and I've been saying, and you can back me up on this. I've said this for years. If they want to save the industry, and no disrespect meant to Mr. Tierney or his business, and I wish him well, they've got to make the primary distribution mode and get it out of the comic shop.
They've got to get away from Diamond and all that.
They've got to get it back in mass market retailers.
They say that
because if you don't already want to get comic books, you have no reason to set foot in Mr. Tierney's
the thing.
store.
So the discoverability of the comic books has gone into the dirt.
There's no feeder anymore.
Right. Well, and they say that it's the comic books are aging up. Well, they're aging up with the generation where the comic book stores came into it, right?
And it's been like this vicious cycle, making them more and more of a niche product because they're no longer written for a general audience.
Right.
They're no longer written for a young audience.
Right.
And essentially they write them for, you, me, and Mike here.
Right.
We're all north of 40.
Right.
And it's...
No, I agree. The Diamond is the number one worst thing that ever happened to the comic book industry.
Yeah,
people don't know about Diamond is they have a chokehold.
Yeah,
on,
and let me say
distributing
this
comics
about the direct market.
Yeah,
I mean, in the 80s, it saved the industry.
Right,
it had to be done because they were getting squeezed out of the stores like Walmart and whatnot. But to me, it's just been limping along since then.
There's two things, in my opinion, that need to happen to really give the comic book industry a shot in the arm. A, get the prices down. It's nice and everything that you're printing on these perfect pages and that won't never fade, but I guarantee you that it's exceeded inflation.
Well, respectfully disagree to a point.
Okay.
All right. One of the things that drove the comics out of the stores was that they were priced too low.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. You have this spinner rack that's taking up this amount of space. You could put a video game there and have kids chunking quarters in it all day.
I got what you're saying.
And you're going to make more money than you would them buying a 45 cent
I still
comic
feel
book.
like that there's got to be a lower price that you can get comic books too.
This is something, and I don't know if this is viable or not, but something I would kind of have liked to have seen back when it used to be, I don't know if it is anymore, but Superman used to have 5 comics a month.
Right.
At the end of that month, they should just collect them all into a single magazine-sized collection and put it in the retailer store.
Yeah,
I mean, in like Walmart.
Yeah, you could have,
and you could have all the Batman comics in one. All the
direct stores could also have merchandise that maybe isn't on the spinner rack. But
instead of being $1.25 a piece, maybe charge $5 for it, like every other magazine on the rack.
Well, all I know is that, like, when I got into comics, the reason I got into comics is because everybody had comic books because you could walk into the convenience store and get comic books.
Yeah. 40 cents.
And then it was cheaper. So anyway, I gotta draw this portion of the discussion to a close. Basically, Marvel, what are you doing? Right? I hope that you turn things around, Marvel, because I grew up on Marvel and I don't want Marvel to fail, but I don't like what you've been doing lately. But just to counterpoint this, DC, when they do lenticular covers right now, you can order as many as you want, whenever you want, and it has nothing to do with the regular covers that you order.
Yeah.
So there you go. So Marvel, don't tell me that's the only way it can be done.
Well, they've got a bad case of, we're Marvel.
Yeah, but we're Marvel. All right, Mike, any last thought on this before I take us to a break?
Nope.
Okay. All right.
Nothing short. I can tell you that.
That broadcasting school was well.
Yeah. They don't call me the best color person in Geek Talk Radio for nothing. Yeah.
For nothing. All right. Some goblins are your friends. Game Goblins is Central Arkansas's premier retailer of Magic the Gathering, Warhammer 40K, board games, card games, RPGs, miniatures, and hobby accessories. Call Game Goblins at 501-224-GAME or visit them online at GameGoblins.com. That's 501-224-GAME or GameGoblins.com for all of your gaming needs. And they're located at 1121 South Bowman, by the way, right on the corner of Bowman and Canis in West Little Rock. For all of your gaming needs, I heartily recommend Game Goblins. Make sure to check out their customer loyalty program that rewards you based on your actual purchases. Game Goblins earns your business and keeps it. First-time customers, mention Shane Plays and receive $10 off your purchase of $50 or more. Tell them Shane Plays sent you. Hey, welcome back to Shane Plays Geek Talk. Journey into the things we love. I'm joined by William Bill Brackeen and comedian extraordinaire Michael Brown, guest of the show, frequent guest. We're a recurring guest. Glad to have him. Last segment before the break, we talked about Marvel basically putting the screws to the retailers over lenticular covers. One thing I didn't even get a chance to get into, Bill and Michael, was it's come to light that they've proven that the reason they're not publishing Fantastic Four right now is over the Fox thing.
And I have a comment about that.
Okay.
I think that most of Marvel's problems lay at the feet of that.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just not publishing Fantastic Four, but the reasons for it.
Right.
And the overall kind of petty
attitude
about it. Mm-hmm. And Fantastic Four is the flagship title.
Yep.
And it's kind of the rudder.
Yeah. Well, evidently some higher up executive threw a major fit and said, and they've taken Fantastic Four out of trading cards, you name it, and it's all over this Fox thing. We can't, I hate to say it, we can't, there's no time for that.
Yeah.
I want to get y'all's reaction on something else.
Okay.
But I feel you. I feel you. There's a whole gestalt of stuff going on with Marvel right now. Okay.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. So, Michael,
Sir.
Bill, as role players, y'all have both. We're RPG gamers, tabletop role players, the real role players. Computer role playing games are not exactly role playing games. People, I like them, but they're not role playing games. Okay. So, gonna get some hate mail on that, I bet. So,
should have said it louder.
At least you didn't go into LARPing.
Yeah. LARP. All right. Okay. I got about 5 minutes to do this segment.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, y'all have both played and GM or DM'd, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna throw the X card on you. I want your true, honest feeling on this thing, whether you like it or not. Okay? Just give me your knee jerk, and of course, for some reason now the page isn't loading. Okay, so I'll give you, I was gonna read word for word what the X card was, but suddenly for some reason it doesn't want to load on my computer.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so the X card is this thing.
Tell me what I don't even know what it is.
Yeah,
So
well, it came to light to me a couple of weeks ago. I was going to DM at a con. I was going to DM a game, and this came up, and it was like, hey, we want all the DMs to do this. And then there was a bit of a revolt. But anyway, there's this thing called the X card. There's a Google Doc out there people can go to, and this guy named John Stavropoulos came up with it. And it basically is, if you're gaming, you take an index card. If you're RPG gaming, you take an index card and you write a big X on it, and then you put it on the table. At any time during the game, for any reason, if something's going on in the game, somebody can pick that X card up and play it, and without explanation, without even having to identify what the offending content is, everybody has to immediately change, and that part of the game stops.
Change what?
Whatever. If the DM is having a moment, or if another player is having their character do something, if it makes anybody at the table, quote unquote, uncomfortable, they get to do that X card, and without explanation, without even having to say, this is what's bothering me, it has to immediately stop. And the game immediately has to change, and that scene or whatever has to stop and end.
Okay, my immediate reaction is, if the GM's okay with that, then I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
But it's not something I would do in a game myself.
Okay.
I mean, if you've got, I can understand, maybe if you're playing with young kids
or strangers
or if you have one player who's just particularly sensitive to certain things, maybe. I mean, it sounds like something that this guy came up with to solve a problem that he was having.
Well,
maybe.
it's to bring this concept of safe spaces into gaming.
Yeah.
Now, the page finally came up. So here's the explanation. This is how you're supposed to explain it at the beginning of the game. Okay. I'd like your help. Your help to make this game fun for everybody. If anything makes anyone uncomfortable in any way, draw an X on an index card. Just lift this card up or simply tap it. You place the card at the center of the table. You don't have to explain why. It doesn't matter why. When we lift or tap this card, we simply edit out anything X carded. And if there is ever an issue, anyone can call for a break and we can talk privately. So I've got problems with this for a couple of reasons. One, there are people that legitimately have psychological triggers.
Right.
There's other people that really don't. They think they do, but something might kind of bother them a little bit, but they have things
they just don't like.
Right, they just don't like.
Right.
What my issue with this is, you don't have to explain why it doesn't matter why. Well, yeah, it does, because this is a consensual group experience. You're not the only player at the table. Mm-hmm. So I don't like the one-sided heavy-handedness of it.
Now, I mean, I can see certain circumstances where this might actually be appropriate, like if you're, like I mentioned, having younger players, and if, like, my daughter's expressed an interest in role playing.
Yeah.
If we're in a game and what's happening in the game is maybe a little too sexy or something like that, I might want to play that card.
Yeah,
because I just don't think this is appropriate for the group of people that we have playing.
Yeah, I fall more on the line of, I think that at that point, since it's a group experience and you're not the only person at the table, you should say, this isn't the game for me.
Yeah,
and
I get that, but I mean, it may just, you sometimes have situations where the person hasn't really thought out who his audience is, and if this and in the example that we're giving, the GM has put the card out on the table, so obviously that's an option.
Yeah, if the GM, but I question the need for this.
Now, like I said, I would not use it as a tool in a game that I was running myself. Right. Now, if somebody at the table says, hey, this is making me really uncomfortable, at that point, I would probably downplay whatever it is that's going on and move on.
Well, I'm just for time, I'm going to give my elevator statement, and then I want to give Mike like a minute to talk about it because we got to wrap here in a second. Here's my main beef with this. You don't have to explain why. It doesn't matter why. Bull. Because it feeds into this, if my feelings are hurt, the entire world has to change to me, even though some people get their feelings hurt way too easy. Yeah. That happens. So it's editing the whole world to fit me when it's a group experience that I take massive exception to, especially when you say you don't have to explain it. Mike, give me about a minute of your take on this, and then I got to wrap us up.
How many times can you utilize the card?
There's no limit.
There's no limit.
It's just it's a safe space. So if people get triggered, then they can edit the game with no explanation because we can't hurt anybody's feelings or make anybody uncomfortable in real life.
Okay.
All right.
No, it's dumb. It's a dumb idea. The whole thing is dumb.
I don't like it.
It's a dumb idea. If you're a GM and you want to follow this rule, go right ahead, bro. Yeah. Go ahead, lady, whoever's running your game, or whatever, because you're the one that opened the door to this.
Right.
But if you were really a good enough game master, this should never be an issue.
I'm like, I was going to run a game at a con. They said, we're going to do this. And I said, I'm not part of the con.
Yeah.
Sorry. It just, it's too much, whatever, too much safe space, too much, because really I think that for the most part.
Well, I mean, it's kind of a, who's the GM here?
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, and I do take your point, but at the same time, if there's a bunch of adults gaming and a child wants to join in,
then the game master should make adjustments to his game.
Yeah. Or on the fly. Or explain, this is an adult game, Dad. But anyway.
It's not good.
I got to wrap us up. Michael, your web show, what's the name of your web show?
Everything's Okay.
Everything's Okay, where you play the disembodied head of Orson Wells, has been nominated for a Streamy.
That's right.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man.
All right, bad joke of the week. I got it. Bad joke of the week. Did you hear about the banker that changed careers?
No.
He lost interest.
Nah.
Yeah. Go whack, whack.
Whack.
Whack, whack. All right, thanks, guys. We'll catch everybody next week. Thanks, Zach.
We've got to upgrade the apparatus. We've got to get cool new superhero stuff to battle this all-encompassing evil.
Uh-huh. And who's going to pay for all this cool new stuff?
That's not the point. Step 1, we must choose battle cries. The cries we always emit just before leaping into battle.
Oh, you mean like, not in the face, not in the face?
Lacks force, chum. No, more like, spoon!
I don't get it.
Spoon!
Look, I'm just a sidekick.
Shane Plays Radio is blessed to have sponsors, and we appreciate them very much. However, did you know that you can also support the show as an individual for as little as $1 an episode? Simply go to patreon.com/ShanePlays.